I Own It will give you a front row seat to the positioning, bold moves, and sometimes the dog-eat-dog negotiations that go on behind the scenes of the deals that break the norms, set the precedent, and become the case study we devour as we harnessed our craft. Welcome to the season. Leverage. You got it or you don't. This week, we sit down with Anthony Melchiorri. Anthony, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for having us in your hometown.
Well, not only hometown, but we're sitting at the corner at the Ritz-Carlton overlooking Central Park, where I started my career at the Plaza Hotel right down the block.
Oh, I love it. So the show's on leverage.
Okay.
So what is leverage to you?
Okay, so leverage, first of all, is not a dirty word, right? And leverage, as long as it's pure, it's a great word because, like, we have a friendship. We met, I think, in Vegas, right?
Yep.
And we were doing some social media. We were on podcasts, and we connected immediately over dinner. And I asked you to be on my podcast. You asked me to do this. So is that leverage? Is that we're friends and we're going to help each other? Is that leverage? Well, if I come to you, right, I have a show, and if I come to you and say, hey, would you invest? Well, you're going to look at that as a business person, and you're going to say, I like Anthony, I like where he's going, but you know what? Financially, that doesn't make sense for what I do for a living, right? But I'll use my leverage as a friend to ask you, right? Just the way you're asking me, like if you need, like you didn't ask me anything about the hotels in New York City, but you could use the leverage that we have together for me to help you find a hotel. You didn't, and you picked a really good one.
Right. Well, I didn't because sometimes you have to pull back and pick your spots when you do use leverage. Because I might need you for something else.
Right.
And if I could figure out my own hotel, but I'm going to take that into consideration as I travel.
Yeah, you know, and so leverage isn't a bad word. It's a beautiful word. As long as you, listen, everything is good as long as you do everything with a pure heart.
Right.
I don't look to get over on people. If you win, I win. If I win, you win. But if only one of us wins, then leverage is being corrupted. Then you're using leverage for your own, like, then you just become a tool in my toolkit and you become not important to me. So if you don't do a show anymore and you don't do real estate anymore, and for some reason you have a hard time and you call me up and say, hey, Anthony, I'm having a hard time, I'm going to help you. Whether you can do something for me or you can't, right? That's called friendship, and that's called being, like, if I didn't like you, I didn't care how much leverage you can give to me. I'm not going to work with you. So leverage only works, in my opinion, when it's both pure. Now, we see in political leverage, we see in business leverage, and you see eventually that doesn't work if it's not pure, right? Look what's happening right now in our country. Everybody's using their leverage, but everybody's using it for their own benefit and not trying to help the other side. It doesn't work.
Well, also what you're saying is when you give first without expecting anything in return, that creates great leverage.
Right.
It builds the relationship. Deep-rooted relationships, rapport. That way, when I need you for something, it's easy. It's an easy ask because I've been helping you for so long.
Right, and it's not. It's an insurance policy. What I call, like I'm in the hospitality business. So in the hotel business, when somebody walks into a hotel, there's literally over 3,000 things that happen from the second you get out of your car to the hotel room. So if you're greeted by a young lady or a young man who's fantastic, your luggage is taken care of, everything is clean, the windows are clean, the elevator is clean, everything works. You get into the room, you hit your card, the door opens, and it's a beautiful suite. And all of a sudden, there's an elephant in the room, right, dancing in a tutu, crapping all over your room. You're going to call down and say, hey, Lisa, thanks for the elephant. Great idea. But I really don't want to smell elephant poop for the next 24 hours. So would you mind changing my room? Now, take that, and now Lisa wasn't nice, the hotel wasn't nice, they put you in the wrong room, and now there's an elephant in your room crapping. That's a different conversation. That's a, get me out of here, give me my money back, this place sucks, I go on the internet and I blow you up. That is the wrong kind of leverage, right? There's no insurance policy. When you're doing it well, there's an insurance policy. So if I felt that you were treating me like leverage when I first met you, we wouldn't have a conversation. So it's an insurance policy.
When did you first learn about leverage?
When I was in the military, I worked for a gentleman named Colonel Hallams. Colonel Hallams, I was in the Air Force, but I was detached to an Army base in Honduras. And Colonel Hallams said to me these words. You know A Few Good Men, Colonel Jessup?
Absolutely.
Colonel Hallams was Colonel Jessup. I'm going to write that movie one day. Unbelievable. And a real old school guy. And he said, do a little more and you'll go a lot further. So he said, get spiritual, get right with your God, get right with your physical health, get right with your mental health, and be good to people. And show up. That's the name of my book, Show Up. And when I was in Honduras, I was on the softball team. I got my confirmation. I believe it or not, I was 150 pounds, and I was benching 300 pounds. And I got right. And every time I turned around, I was getting an award, I was getting something. And so to me, that's when I started to realize if I just give of my heart and I'm giving freely and not wanting anything in return, when I go and ask for a favor, I just was asking for funding for my new show. And everybody, whether it be the Breakers Hotel, whether it be Margaritaville, whether it be AHLA, American Hotel Lodging Association, when I went to them and said, hey, can we use your hotel to shoot? We don't usually do that. But you know what? We trust you. Margaritaville, Tamara, can we use how? Absolutely. Whatever you need, we trust you. American Hotel Lodging Association, we need hundreds of thousands of dollars to produce our new TV show called Hotel All-Star. One phone call, one word. Yes, we trust you. Because over the years, I worked with all of them wanting nothing. And when I asked for it, I was overwhelmed by the words, we trust you. I got you. When I did a show called 5 Star Secrets, I go from being the Hotel Impossible guy, running around the world, right, chasing bed bugs and turning around these hotels. Now I want to go into 5-star hotels and say, hey, I want to come in and show how beautiful these hotels are. Oh, no, you're the Hotel Impossible guy. I said, but I come from this. I don't come from Hotel Impossible, like those kind of hotels. I come from 5-star hotels. Like, no, we're not, no. So it took my friend, Rose Genovese. She was at the Langham in Chicago. And I go, Rose, Brooklyn girl. I go, Rose, I need to do shows. Anthony, let me tell you something. I just started this job. And all the people that own this hotel are in Asia. If I go on the hook for you and you shoot in my hotel and you screw it up, I'll effing kill you. I go, okay, Rose. So she calls who she got to call. She goes, all right, you got the green light. So we went to the Langham, first show. Called the hotel here in New York, and they said no because they didn't trust me because they didn't know me. So we did One and Only in Cabo. We did all these hotels, and all of a sudden the show's a hit. So people won't take a risk on you unless you've taken the risk on them. So to me, leverage is not thinking about what you're going to get from it, but doing the right thing because you're connected to the person. And that is created my entire world. You call it leverage, insurance policy, whatever you want to call it. My entire world is built on yes. What's the question? Yes is the answer. Yes, 100%. I'll fly across the world for a favor. You want to have a cup of coffee because you want to talk to me? I'll fly across the world. If that comes back to me because you remember that, that's leverage.
But especially in the hospitality business, you seem to always be on the other side of the lever that you don't want, but you end up jumping to the other side based on your reputation, how you act, how you treat people. Create leverage and goodwill from your actions, from putting in the work over a significant period of time.
A significant period of time.
That's right.
That's exactly right. You have to put in the work. I'm busy, you're busy, right? I just flew in from Vegas, you flew from wherever you flew in. Everybody's busy in this room. I was asked to be here at 9:30 to start shooting and getting ready at 9:40. I was here at 9:23, right? Mm-hmm. No excuses. Right. I'm ready to go. I'm not on my phone. I wasn't on my phone before. I'm ready to go, right? Now, I can make excuses. Oh, I'm late. I got stuck in traffic. I had a business meeting. I'm sorry I can't make it. No excuses. Everything you do, you're being rated on. I'm being rated. Oh, he's on time. He's paying attention. He's nice to be around. He said hello to everybody, because that's what I do. I'm being rated. I'm not doing it because I'm being rated, but you are. And that's how you start to build your leverage. You just start to do the right thing because it's the right thing.
So when did you first learn this? Like, obviously, you mature, you know how to treat people. What was that moment you said, if I give first, if I treat people with kindness, if I do things differently, what was that moment?
Like I said, it wasn't a moment. It was just over a period of time of failing and of embarrassing myself and not paying attention. I'll give you an example. I was in the Air Force and I took typing class, and I was 90 words a minute. I was typing class, okay? Because I was going to be an administrator. And I failed because I wasn't paying attention. And now I have no leverage. I can't move on. I can't get promoted. I can't go to my next duty station because I have no leverage because I didn't pass the test. So that's what it taught me. Is like, well, if I start doing the little things and I start paying attention and I start winning, then I start getting a little leverage. Now I'm in a position where people look at me and go, oh, you have a lot of leverage. I never see it that way. I don't look at it like I have leverage. I look at it like, Ben asked me to do something, I better do it. Or I'm going to get in trouble. He's going to say something bad about me. I'll give you another example.
Yeah.
I played in little poker tournaments when I traveled, $200 poker tournaments. So I was in a poker tournament the other night in Vegas, at Venetian. After I was done with my speaking, I go in this little tournament, and there's whispers. You know what that is? You know what that is? You know what that is? And everybody makes a big deal for 5 minutes. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want anybody to talk to me right now. So they're all making a big deal for 5 minutes. 6 minutes later, I could have been, nobody cared.
Right.
Nobody cared about anything but winning, and nobody even looked at me. No one talked to me. No one said goodbye to me. No one gave a shit. But at first, it's like, oh, look at this guy. But a second later, I got to earn that respect at the table if I wanted it, you know? So I've never looked at it in one moment, like what is leverage. I looked at it, do the right thing, show up, pay attention, but also what's really important is don't do something you know you're going to start to have animosity about or regret about, or you now think that person owes you. I say no. I think the word no is more important than the word yes, because I say no a lot more than I say yes. But when I say yes, I'm all in. And when I say no, I'm all out. I'm not in the middle. So I think in the beginning of business, you say yes when you really want to say no because you have no leverage.
Right.
And maybe that's good because some people start, realizing this guy's will be there. But then what happens is you start having regret. And then you start having animosity. And then you start, oh, why did I do this? Why did I do that? So now I'm in a position where I only say yes to things I want to say yes to. And that's maybe when you start getting leverage.
So most people don't know, you start off in the bottom in the hospitality business, and then you worked your way up. How did that create leverage for you in the position you're at as an executive and entrepreneur?
I was night manager at the Plaza Hotel down the block. Mm-hmm. And I remember Sunday morning, we had like 500 checkouts, and we had groups coming in, and for the week, and maybe there was 400 people coming in, and we would have to do a pre-check, which means you have to have all the cards, and you have to have all the. So 90% of the time, there's a mistake. You give somebody the wrong key. We've all been there, right? You walk into the wrong room. And I remember truly obsessing, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, getting there, getting all the key packets, getting everything right, and just having all the pre-regs, having everything that we needed all set up. And it was always flawless. And I remember my boss, who I actually eventually worked for as asset manager, looking at me. Never said anything. He would just look at me. And I knew what he was saying. He was like, this guy's got his stuff together. And so 20 years later, maybe more, I was asked to be the first vice president of a major development company in New York City from this gentleman who's the president of the company. And we stayed in touch, but we didn't really stay close. But he remembered that crazy little guy trying to make sure everything was perfect. So that's how I created my leverage.
You do a lot of personal empowerment for people. And how does that create leverage for a leader? Accountability, personal empowerment. When
I got in the military, I was lost. I was suicidal. It's in my book. I wanted to kill myself. And I came out of the military, and I remember being bulletproof. I remember saying the words, I'm bulletproof. No one can touch me. I'm bulletproof. Then I had kids, and nobody's bulletproof as you have kids, right? Because you wear your heart outside your body once you have kids. But because I knew I can be counted on, I went to college, I was in the Air Force, I won a lot of awards, and I started having confidence. And I knew that if you asked me to do something and I said yes to, it's done. Matter of fact, on my website, I give the definition of done to me. If, like, you asked me, right, how much communication we have about this show? Would you be on? Yes. And then last night I was like, when is it and where is it? And I know it's today, but where, right, that was it. In my brain, I connected to you and I said, I'll be there, done.
You know what's great about that, though, is that the way we communicate, we know we can rely on each other.
Right.
When we tell each other it's done and we could turn our back, to me, that's what gold is. That's what I love about great employees, great leaders, great resources,
right.
And everyone.
No excuses.
There's no excuses.
So as I built my confidence, I knew that you better hire me. You better put me in that position. Like, I don't think this way and I don't say this, but you're an idiot if you don't, because you're going to get a lot of leverage out of me, and I'm going to get a lot of leverage out of you.
Anthony just spoke about the military made him bulletproof. I want you to ask yourself, who makes you bulletproof? Who's your done people? Who can you rely on that when you turn your back, you know the job's going to get done? So one of the things you do well is change the community or culture in a hotel. People have watched your show, but for you personally, how does that create leverage? What is the net result when you step into that hotel and you're looking at turning it around? What's the strategy that's going to create that leverage that's going to say, okay, we're here in revenue, we want to get to here?
Pride.
Okay.
You want to create leverage in the hotel? I did it at the Algonquin, did it at every hotel. You go to the bellman, you go to the doorman, you go to the housekeepers, and you go, what can I do for you? What do you mean, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? I need more money. Okay. What else can I do for you? I need more sheets. Okay. My uniform's got a hole in it. I have a doorman that a hotel I used to work at. Every time I pass him, he goes, my hole's still here. Swear to God. He goes, my hole's still here, because no one's paying attention to the guy. So pride. Pride creates leverage, because when you give people pride and you really love them and respect them, they will go out of their way for you, and now you got leverage. There's one hotel I go to, and they always say, best general manager, best general manager. When I was there, maybe they didn't like me that much, but they remember the pride I had for the hotel and for them. And they created my leverage. I had a gentleman in the union, delegate, who was very difficult to work with. And then me and him started to work well together. And one day he comes up to me and he goes, boss, Poppy, he called me Poppy. Poppy, what? Wine cabinet, behind the wine cabinet. I work behind the wine cabinet. Poppy, and he walks away. So I go to the wine cabinet, and it's a metal wine cabinet, and somebody cut a hole in the back of the wine cabinet and was taking the wine. This is a union delegate in the Union Hotel telling me that somebody's stealing the wine. I created leverage because I created pride and I created trust.
Just from your background, how does being on TV, how does that create leverage for you?
Oh, that's a great question. Everything. Everything is because of my television show. When I was a hotel general manager, and people in New York City knew me, everybody knew me. Like, you were going bankrupt, call that guy. He's out of his mind. But just, I'll give an example. I got this job, and one day, maybe it's 4 or 5 months into the job, I have to go to human resources. I go to human resources, the young lady's not there, and you're not, even as general manager, I'm not allowed to open up my file until they're there and they give it to me. I opened it up because I needed something. And in there is my reference sheet stapled to the folder. And everybody on the reference sheet is a person I gave them a name to call. And every single one of them, I swear to God, their own different words, said, he's a pain in the ass, but he gets the job done. He is really difficult to work with sometimes, but he gets the job done. And I remember calling this one gentleman who's now, he's the CEO of a major company here in the city. And I go, why would you say that? I said, because it's true. You're a pain in the ass, but you get the job done, right? So I became known as that guy that turns around. Just leave him alone. Like, just leave the crazy guy alone, throw him a couple peanuts, and just don't get in his way. He's not going to kill nobody. He's not going to do anything illegal, but he's a lot, right? Because when you're turning around these New York City properties that are in in a lot of trouble, if I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. I want my team's opinion. I want to talk to the housekeeper. I want to talk to the walls. I want to talk to the granite. I don't want to talk to some idiot asset manager that knows nothing about New York City. I want to know the building. And once I know the building, it's like a child. They learn to trust you. The building trusts you. Everybody trusts you. So, but that's it. It's New York City. Nobody knows me outside of New York City. Then one day I decided to do a show, get it produced, get it done, and all of a sudden somebody pushes a button and 100 countries, 5 million people in one button know who I am. So now all of a sudden I become the TV guy. I love the leverage. I love the accessibility I get because of that TV show. I have a great consulting business. I have a book. I have a podcast, #1 podcast in hospitality, all because of my TV show. That was my leverage. Oh, so I don't care about money and power, but I do care about leverage.
So let's talk about this then. When is taking leverage too far?
When it's insincere.
Yeah.
When you're using leverage, and then when the guy walks down the block, you don't even know his name. That won't work.
Right.
You will literally blow up. When you're a person that takes but doesn't give, it doesn't work.
Right.
Doesn't work. Every day I get out of bed and I thank God for everything I have, being grateful. Everybody in the last couple of years has been challenged because of COVID. Business-wise, financial, everybody, including me. But every day I'm like, I got a hot shower, I got a bed, I got a couple people that like me. I'm good. I have my health, thank God. I got sick last year, but somehow I got through it. So if you think in those terms, just sitting here on Central Park at the Ritz-Carlton, 30 years after I was at the Plaza Hotel, talking to you about, I'm going to get emotional because I got out of the Air Force, I was going down Brooklyn Heights, right near the Gowanus Expressway. You come out of all these buildings and all of a sudden there's this beautiful landscape of Manhattan. We've all seen it. And I looked and I pointed at the landscape and I said, everybody in New York City in the hotel business will know my name. Little did I know, I'm in Spain and the cab driver is pulling over to the side of the road, jumping out and hugging me. Little did I know I'm in Belize City and the gentleman jumps out, starts hugging me, throws me in his car and introduces me to his brother who's the director of tourism for Belize. Like, it's crazy. All because I wanted to work in hotels. And I just put one foot in front of the other, was always nervous that I would let people down. I was always concerned that I wouldn't live up to their expectations, or my expectations more importantly. And to this day, that's how I live my life. I always tell my teams when I'm running hotels, when a guest leaves and they say, great stay, thank you, we fail. When they say, wow, I literally say the word wow is what I live for. So when somebody walks into a building, we renovated or whatever, and they say, wow, we win.
Well said. That's leverage. Thank you,
is
my
that
friend.
it?
That's it. Thank you for coming on the show.
All right.
What a privilege. Thanks for
Privilege
coming
to
down.
be here.
It's great. Thanks for having me in your
Okay, I'm
hometown.
sleeping here tonight, by the
You
way.
can.
All right.
We have a lot. We have a lot of room.
Beautiful room. They
Is it great?
Ritz-Carlton really renovated this
How about
beautifully.
how about the view?
People pay $1 billion for that view.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's time to jump out of your comfort zone and start using leverage you have right in front of you. Are you ready to put in the hard work? If you said yes, then what are you waiting for? Let's go out there and own it together.